let's go. Okay, so today we will learn the basics of backpacking. It's one of the honors in pathfindering and also one of the essential honors that we need to learn as a pathfinder, especially it is deeply connected to pathfindering, especially when you go to campings, hike. Now, backpacking has many aspects, but the only things that we will be focusing on this afternoon will be answering the question of what to bring and how do we take all of those and place it inside our backpack. So basically that's going to be the coverage of our lecture this morning. A very important and essential lesson you need to learn in backpacking is that you only bring things that are essential. When we say essential, it means that those are the most important things. Now, before you figure out what are those most important things or essential things to bring, you have first to consider where you are going or to what you are going. Say, for example, you're going on a hiking trip. If you're going hiking, you're not going to be packing as much things because for most of the time, hikings only last like 1, 2, or I guess the most 3 days. But if you say for example, you're going to a camping, which would most of the time last like a week. So things that you're going to bring, whether it be for hiking or for camping, would vary. So it's very important in order for you to know the most important things to bring, you need to know where you're going. Whether you're going hiking or whether you're going camping or whatever that is, you got to know where and to what you're going. Now next, another important thing that you need to consider is what's the condition in the place that you are going. Say for example, you're going hiking. What's the climate in that place? What's the condition in that place? Are you going to a place that's always, like a rainforest? It's always raining. Are you going to a place that's how should I say this, snowing, though we don't have snow here in the Philippines, but you need to consider those places, whether it's a rainforest, whether it's summertime, whether it's rainy season. You got to consider those things because knowing where to what you are going and what conditions are there in the place you're going will determine the things that you're going to bring. Okay, now for a practical example, so you will see what I mean. Okay, now say for example you're going hiking, okay, which is very common here in the Philippines. Going hiking to the mountain and it's rainy season. So since you know where you're going, what's the climate in which you're going, you know how long you're going to stay. Say for example you're staying there for like 3 days. So you know what things you're going to bring. If it's since it's rainy season, you're gonna have to bring maybe a waterproof jacket if you have one, waterproof pants, a raincoat would be helpful. Also, I guess not lots of clothes, but adequate enough clothes. Maybe you have like 2 or 1 shirt per day. At least you have 3 shirts because you know you're gonna be changing a lot because it's gonna be raining a lot. You're also gonna have to bring, if you have, you're gonna be bring earth pads. We don't have any examples of that here, but you're gonna have to consider all those things because you know where you're going. You know it's gonna be raining, you know it's gonna be wet, you're gonna have to keep yourself warm, keep yourself comfortable. Now, if you've considered this, you'd be able to know what things you should bring and also the things that you shouldn't bring. Like, of course, you're not gonna bring like shorts. You're not gonna be bringing those because it's raining. It's gonna be cold. You're not gonna be bringing slippers. You're not gonna be bringing things that are for summer because you're going to a place, an environment which requires you clothes that will suit you for a rainy environment. Okay. Now, I believe you already understand what I mean with most essential things or most essential items. Now, if we already have figured out what are the most essential things to bring, the most important things that we should bring. And of course, we're not going to be bringing things that are not most essential, okay, since you don't want to have a very heavy backpack. Now, we're going to talk about how we take all of those most essential items and bring them and place them inside this backpack, because basically backpacking, this is what it's all about, how you're going to make the most of what you have. You might have a big bag, a small bag, how you can be able to bring all of the things, the most essential things that you have, and place them here and be able to carry it in a way that will make you feel comfortable, especially when you're going hiking or you're going camping. Okay, so right here we have some things. They're not really that accurate, but it's all that we have. We're gonna work with this. Say, for example, these are the things that you have determined are most essential. Now, what we have here right now, okay, so right here we have a knife. We don't have any Swiss Army knife. Just imagine it's a Swiss Army knife. It's a utility knife. This one, this is sort of like a pencil case, but just imagine this is a emergency first aid kit. We don't have water bottle. Imagine this is a water bottle. This one, it's an off lotion for insects, mosquitoes, especially during rainy season. You have a flashlight. It doesn't work. It does work. Sorry, it does work. We have some clothes right here, light clothing, and also a jacket. Now, this is not for any specific camping or any like hiking or any location. This is just for you to have an example of the things that you might. At the moment, this is what we have, just to give you an example of how we're gonna be packing this inside our bag. Okay. Okay. Okay, so there you have it. That's a traditional way of folding clothes. It's neat. It makes it compact and helps you to fit this inside the bag a lot easier. Okay, so it's now time that we place all of these things inside our bag. Now, just following the same principle, things that you don't often use, place it at the bottom, right? So your blanket, of course, you're not going to be using this all the time, and it's not heavy, it's also light, so we're going to be placing this at the bottom. This will also help you so that the heavy things will not be hitting your back. Okay, there, right there, you can see it's at the bottom. You really have to push it down. Next, we'll be taking this, your clothes, maybe, since we don't have anything heavy right here. Maybe if you're bringing rice or some food packs, anything, those things that are kind of heavy, or we don't have ropes as well, but you don't place the rope inside. But anything heavy, this would be the time to place the heavy things inside. But since we don't have, just imagine that there are some heavy things, we're placing them inside. And now we're going to be placing this near the back, okay, just between the heavy things and our back. We're going to be placing this, so it will be, it will keep us from getting hurt, especially if your bag has no what do you call this, support, this pad right here. If it doesn't have, you're gonna have to place that. But since this one has, there's no need for that. We're gonna be placing this because we're not gonna be changing clothes most of the time. Also the pants, we're not gonna be changing our pants all of the time. Okay, so we'll place all of those there. And then our water, okay, this one we're not gonna be using this most of the time. This though is something that we need, so we're gonna place this one just right here, somewhere in the middle, and then this one will be on top. You could place it here, but since this bag is quite empty, let's just place this here. Your flashlight, our first aid kit, so in case we need it, we're gonna place it here. And then of course our utility knife. Imagine this is a Swiss Army knife again. Okay, don't have anything, you know, if this was a Swiss Army knife, Swiss Army knife, this would, you know, it wouldn't have any exposed blade. Let's say for example it is lang. Okay, imagine that that's it. And then your water, of course your water should be right here, because we have a, you know, we have a place for the water right there. And then there you go, there you have it. You just tighten it, you lock it, everything, just make sure that it's secure. And then lastly, we're gonna have to learn how to properly carry our bags. Okay, so this, maybe you can place this inside the loose ends, place it inside, so you know it's not gonna be snatched in anything. Okay, so now you have your bag prepped, it's ready. Finally, you're gonna have to be carrying your bag. Okay, so if it's quite heavy, gaya sinabi natin kanina, just like we said, like 15 kilograms at most. This is 15 kilograms. You know, it would be good if you have something like this, like a table, so you could just lean and then just do like this, and then insert your other arm. Now, in carrying this, first you need to be able to know what to tighten first. Okay? Now, some of us make the mistake of like placing all of the weight right here on our shoulders. Okay, so you should not be doing that. It's gonna be strenuous. You're gonna be using your hands most of the time. So one of the things that you need to know, to understand, is that the weight should be on your hips right here. So you can tighten this one. I don't know this brand, but I don't know how to tighten this. Okay, you can tighten this one. The more you tighten it, the more the weight, since the weight is not at the back, it's right there in the middle and not also too close to our back. The weight is being held right here on our waist, on our hips. So it's not going to be straining our back. Okay, the back, right, this one right here, it's not straining us. It's only, this one is only keeping the bag close to our back, because the closer it is to our bag, to our back, the bag closer to our back, it keeps us balanced. Okay, so it's not gonna dangle around like that and it's gonna keep you off balance or make you off balance, especially you're climbing and you know. Okay, so right now we have our the belt secured, so all of the weight is now resting right here on my waist, not on my back. Okay, this straps right here, the back strap, should not place the weight on your shoulders, because you're going to be using your hands and you wouldn't want to strain your shoulders. So it should be right here. You should tighten this, not too much but also not too loose. It should be tight enough to secure that the weight is right here. It's pushing on your hips. And this one, it should be tight enough. Where's that one? Where do we? Yeah, here. This should be tight enough in order to keep not the weight on our back or on our shoulders, but to keep the bag close to our back. Because the closer the bag is to our back, the easier it is for us to have balance. Because if it's dangling, say for example it's like that, okay, your bag is just dangling, then you're trying to climb or you're walking, it's gonna be moving quite a lot, and especially if you're climbing, your center of gravity will move backward and you could fall. Okay, you could easily trip, you could easily go off balance. So this is not for carrying. The hips should be carrying the weight, and this one is, you should tighten it enough just to keep yourself balanced, so that the bag, because the bag is going to be close to your back. Okay, so there are many more things you need to know about backpacking, but basically those are the basics. And if you know all of those things, most probably you'd be ready to head on out to whatever you're going to, hiking, camping. Once again, let's go!